Good morning, Flosstube. Today is Sunday, December 16th, 2018. My name is Misty Purcell. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, thanks for visiting me today, and if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. It's been a while since I've seen you, about 3 weeks, I think, since my last video. It's been a busy few weeks, but I'm excited to be back and visiting with you today, and just look forward to chatting with you. Hope you've been having lots of stitching time. I have been having more stitching time since the semester has ended. My last day that I had to go in was Tuesday of this week, and no one came to my office. So I just worked and hung out, and it was very quiet and nice. Are you guys ready for Christmas if you celebrate Christmas? I am not. Oh man, this time of year, I love Christmas, but it is so stressful. It's probably the most awesome / stressful holiday that I can think of. I'm just trying to remember everything that I need to do and get everything done, make sure I have time to see people, get my gifts finished up, which thankfully I'm pretty much done at this point. I have a couple gifts yet to buy. I'm usually not this behind, even in that department, but it's just one of those years. Grab a hot beverage, let's hang out. So, let's see, what should I start with? I'll start with some shout outs. I've watched 2 new to me channels, their most recent videos. And so the first one that I watched is Lisha, and she is Southern LadyBug. I knew her name sounded familiar once I started watching her video, so I was trying to think of why that name was familiar, and then she mentioned that she's friends with Jen of Jen Stitching Niche, and I was like, oh, okay, that's where I've heard of her. So she did her first Flosstube video, and it was really cool. She's really into both stitching and crochet, and she crochets these big amigurumi, these big stuffed animals, and she uses chenille yarn, so they're really fuzzy and squishy. And she showed 3 unicorns that she'd done, and I think it was a giraffe, and at the end she shared this octopus she'd crocheted, and she even tie-dyed it herself. It was so cool. And she'd stitched all of the Nora Corbett reindeer, and she had them on her mantle. It was just really impressive, and she's just kind of cool to hang out with, very interesting to listen to. So please go check her out. I will link her channel below. And another Flosstube channel that I checked out was Count Twice, Stitch Once, which is Connie and Melina. I think they're a mother-daughter duo. They're a lot of fun. I watched their most recent video. They were showing a little bit of what Melina had been doing, and she's doing a Rosewood Manor piece that has crowns all over it. It's gonna be really pretty. And she'd finished a Barbara Anna design, and Connie has done all of these Mill Hill ornaments that are amazing, and they're just beautiful. So I was very inspired by all of her Mill Hill ornaments. Made me want to stitch some. I have some in my stash, and I really need to prioritize them. I've also, so on task, check them out. And I'll link them below too. They're a lot of fun. And at the end of the most recent video, they give a little home tour, which is fun too. I've been enjoying the Christmas home tours. Priscilla and Chelsea, the home tour they did, and then Yvonne did one. The Night Owl Stitcher, Jerry, Yankee Creek Stitcher did one that was really nice. I'm sure I'm forgetting people. Helen did one recently too, which was awesome. So I hope you get a chance to watch the home tours. I've been enjoying the Flossmas videos. It's just been like a cool time of year. People seem really excited about what they're doing, and they're decorating. So I'm festive. I wish I could take credit for having made these, because you know I would totally knit these, right? But I did not knit them. They were a gift I received in a swap. So I think I've mentioned before that I do my local yarn and fabric shop does a annual Christmas party, and all of the staff and teachers there give a gift that can be purchased or homemade, and it, you know, has to be an inexpensive gift. So a couple years ago, this was the gift that I got, which was just so perfect for me. It made me so happy. So I'm really happy that I'm wearing them today. Okay, so I have been showered with generosity and gifts that I just can't even believe how kind everyone has been. So I wanted to share some of those things with you today. Stitchers are just amazing. You guys are the best. So I will start with, in no particular order, a variety of things. First, I gave a gift to Cindy. She's Carolina Cajun Creates on Instagram. And then she sent, I didn't expect her to send me anything back, but she sent me a thank you card that was very sweet. And then she sent me some awesome things. I feel like I'm forgetting something, Cindy. I might have forgotten to include something that you sent me. My house is kind of a mess right now, so I apologize if I'm forgetting something. She made this awesome tissue holder, or as I like to call it, Kleenex holder. Very cool fabric. This is perfect. I keep it in my backpack at school when I go to school. Not that I keep my backpack there. And awesome, she made me fingerless gloves, my favorite thing ever. And I sort of broke the rule and I wore them one time. And then I was like, okay, you can't wear them anymore until you show them in the video. But I had to wear them at least once. So I wore them to campus one day for class, and they're lovely. She said they're made out of superwash, so they shouldn't felt. I wear fingerless gloves a lot, either outside kind of in between seasons or sometimes inside when it's cold in winter, just to keep my hands a bit warmer but have my fingers free. So these are really nice. I'll show you. I will be a hand model for you. So thank you so much, Cindy. I love them. They're awesome. If you've never tried knitting fingerless gloves, they're great. You know, I mean, they're pretty easy to do. They're fun. They're relatively fast. So if you're looking for your next potato chip knitting, the thing that you can't do just one of, I would recommend the fingerless gloves. There's all kinds of great patterns out there. So that was what I received from Cindy. And then I did a swap with Kim, and I was commenting on her, she was stitching wintertime, and I was saying how it's been difficult for me to find this pattern. I had favorited it, and then it seemed to be out of stock everywhere. I think you can get it again now, but at the time I hadn't seen it for a while. So I was commenting on it while she was stitching it, and she said, do you want it after I'm done? And I was like, yeah. And so I was like, do you want me to pay you for it, or do you want to trade or something? And then she said that she would like to stitch Rest and Be Thankful by Cricket Collection, which I've shared in a recent video that I stitched last year. So I was like, well, let me see if I still have it. And I did. So I sent it to her, and then when she was finished, she sent me this. It's so adorable. And a little sweet card. Thank you, Kim. I'm excited about that. I'm hoping maybe 2020, winter of 2020, because I feel like that's about how far out I'm planning my stitching these days. I got a lovely Christmas card from Cindy's Cross Stitch. I like her smiling face there and all the things that kind of are things that are her favorites, things that she's been working on this year. So I thought this was a really cool card. So thank you, Cindy, for remembering me. I got not one, but 2 cards from Jen. She's Spooneroony Stitcher on Instagram. So she sent me a Thanksgiving card, and I think this is actually the first Thanksgiving card I've ever received, so thank you, Jen. And then she sent me this lovely Christmas card, and she is so sweet. I really, really appreciated the cards you sent, Jen. Thank you. I got a card from Helen with the awesome little fox on it. So cute. And then she sent me, this is her trademark floss that she likes to make cording with. So this is number 67. It's a variegated. I think she had said that it's got kind of a long color repeat. So she liked it a lot for cording more than for stitching with, if I remember correctly. So thank you, Helen. I'm excited to put this on something. It would mean I have to finish something. I'll work on that. And okay, so next I received a very generous gift that made me cry from Robin. Very nice card. This just came out of nowhere. It's very sweet. I feel like I'm forgetting something that Robin sent me too, so I hope I'm not. And Robin, if I'm forgetting to show something, I apologize. Now I did. Robin sent me some treats, and I don't care what the rule is. Like, I'm not waiting on treats, so they've been enjoyed. Thank you. I did share a little bit because, well, I should only eat so many treats in a short period of time. But she sent me some treats, and she sent me, because she knows that I am a teacher, and Robin used to be a teacher as well, so she sent me this sweet little needle minder. Aw, isn't this gorgeous? All of the new Brenda Gervais patterns that came out, I was like, I just want every single one. So this is just like perfect for me. Honestly, like, I don't know, she picked everything that I would have picked if I were just out shopping. And I was thinking how cool it would be to stitch, I don't know the exact dimensions of this, but maybe stitch the cardinal as a circular ornament on the tree. I think that would be really cool. So that might be the first thing that happens with this chart in 2020. Oh my god. And then she sent me this cozy blanket. It was hard to not take it out of the packaging. I really wanted to snuggle up under it, so now I can. So thank you so much, Robin, for your generosity, for thinking of me. And then I have one other gift that I received from Melanie. Melanie knows I like kitties, and I know that Melanie likes kitties. Melanie's cat is named Lily, I think. So she sent me this adorable, sweet card, which she told me to open last. I liked that there were instructions in the packaging. And she also just picked like perfect things for me. So she sent me this awesome bird calendar. She said her mom's friend is a graphic design artist. So isn't that so cool? I think I'm gonna put it up in my office so that I can enjoy it while I'm at work, because my office is kind of boring. It needs some sprucing up. So that will be perfect. Then she sent me this gorgeous thread keep. It's gonna be perfect for my spring stitching. I love it. This is from Kelmscott Designs. And actually this is my first thread keep, so thank you. I've never had one before. She asked me if I had heard of Pusheen, and yes, I have heard of Pusheen. I've been a Pusheen fan for a while. I can't remember if I started following them on Facebook. I can't remember how I found out about Pusheen. But I've been following Pusheen for a while, and I have the Pusheen Facebook stickers and the Pusheen emoji stickers on my phone so that I can text people emojis of Pusheen for conversation. So this is a cute little cross-stitch kit with some Aida. Let me show you what comes in it. It's so awesome. Look at the tiny little, ooh, I don't want to mess it up. Look at the tiny little hoop and all the little threads. So cute. So I totally dug that. Thank you so much. That has to happen. Oh, I won't be able to close it. There we go. And I'd not heard of, let's see, Kim's Creative Needle Minders before. She got me all these awesome, because she knows I like peanuts. Aren't they so good? So awesome. Thank you so much, Melanie, for your generosity. So that was just overwhelming. I'm really appreciative and grateful. And I just want to take this opportunity to say how grateful I am. My Flosstube 1-year anniversary is coming up at the beginning of next month. I can't believe I've been doing this for a year. I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you. You know, all of you who have taken the time to encourage me, comment. You just made it all worthwhile, because otherwise I'd just be talking to myself, and I do that all the time anyway, so it's pretty boring. So I'm grateful for all of the people I've been able to connect with thanks to Instagram and YouTube, and I'm just really grateful for you. I'm also thankful for all of the support of my Etsy shop and my creative endeavors in that front. Again, I wouldn't be able to do it if it weren't for you, so thank you so much for encouraging me. Thank you for your orders. I'm really excited about things I've got coming up for next year, some new designs coming out pretty soon. But it wouldn't be possible without you, and I don't think I'd have had the courage to do it without all of the encouragement of this community and my friends and family. So I'm just very grateful. It's been a crazy, awesome year where I guess I've just decided to try stuff and see what happens, and I'm so grateful. So thank you very much. I really can't express how much I appreciate you. I'll get a little teary-eyed, sorry. Don't mean to cry at Christmas. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's kind of hilarious. So, you don't think of, of like finding something unexpected once, let alone twice. So if you remember, I found that mirrored window that I showed in my last video, and that was like a really lucky find because I had seen that on someone else's Instagram account, and I never thought I'd actually find the window. And so I was back at that antique place this weekend, and what do you think I found? Another window, the same window. Now, I don't need two, but if you happen to live in central Pennsylvania, just an FYI that if you go to Lewisburg, the street of shops, there's a window there, and I'm going to insert a photo of the window, and then you'll be able to see the tag with the vendor name in case you happen to live around here and you really need that window in your life, then you can go get it. I don't know if anyone's as desperate for that window as I was, but I'm going to include that just in case, and I'll include that here. Okay, so I have finished some things, and they are not here, so I will go get them. Alrighty, so I've got my stuff. So I finished 3 things, and thank goodness Christmas is coming, and that made me finish things because it's been so busy, and I just wasn't prioritizing it. Along with cleaning my house, it was not a priority, but the house is slowly getting cleaned, gifts are getting done. So I finished my tiny Santa, which you might remember from my last video. He's like this big. And that's from the book Santas and Snowmen. I'll show that. It's somewhere here. Here we go. I was doing the Santa on top. And so I ended up finishing it as a tag ornament using Vanna's tutorial. So I'm going to insert a photo of what it looks like finished here. And so what I ended up doing, I followed her tutorial. I used the crocodile. That went pretty well, except I didn't line the eyelets up that great, but whatever. It was my first time. I thought the crocodile was pretty straightforward to use once I kind of looked at it a little bit and looked at the instructions, so that was not bad. And I used both like she does in the video, the smaller one and the larger one, just the way that she did. So then when I was gluing the ornament, the Santa, to the tag, and I was getting ready to put the cording around, I just got glue everywhere. Like, I'm just messy with glue. And I was hoping it would dry clear, which, it does, but the fabric that I had, it just showed up like a wet spot. And it was really noticeable, like in a few different spots. And I was like, oh no, am I gonna be able to gift this? It really doesn't look good. Even I don't want it right now. So I ended up like thinking about it a little bit and thinking like, well, is there anything I could put around it that would cover up, like some kind of snow? And I'm like, that's gonna look weird. And then I finally thought maybe I could just do like another round of like a thinner cording, and maybe that would cover it up, and it did. So I was trying to decide like what color to use, and I settled on green, and it really actually helped the design a lot because the red cording around it didn't show up that much, but then to have like the narrower green cording around it helped it pop a little bit more, and I liked the dimension of having a thicker cording and then a thinner cording. So in the end, it was a happy mistake. And, you know, like a creative solution came of it. So it was like a lucky thing, but it wasn't like I was, you know, having this amazing inspiration, like intentionally. It just happened because something didn't go well. But I like that look, and I think I will probably try that again with the 2 rounds of cording. I'm debating whether to restitch that Santa in that same size or to do it. So I did it 1/1 on Lugana, 28 count. I'm trying to decide if I want to just do it like a normal, like maybe a 32 count, 2/2, or if I want to keep it small. I thought maybe it would be too small from far away because it doesn't, you can't see the design clearly across the room where I was thinking of hanging it on my branch above that mirrored window. But I don't know, my boyfriend thought it would be fine, and it does look good. So I don't know, I'm still debating. I haven't made up my mind. But the reason I don't have that is because I gifted that at the teacher swap that I was talking about. We just had our Christmas party Thursday. My gift, without fail, gets picked like towards the end. Like there have been years where I have thought I would probably get my own gift back because like I don't know what I do wrong with the way that I present my gifts. Like they just apparently the packaging is not appealing. So they always get picked that like towards the end within the last like 3 every time, the last probably 3-4 years. It's so weird. I don't think I'm that messy, but okay, anyway. So the person who got my gift, I felt bad because she's been wanting to get my gift for the past few years because I've always given a towel as a gift, and she really wanted one. And so as she's going up to get the gift, someone tells me that she's been wanting to get this towel, which I knew, but I'm like, well, it's not a towel. And so I felt bad because she, you know, she finally gets my gift, and I think she was a little disappointed that it wasn't cross-stitch ornament and not a towel. But I told her I didn't have time to weave any more towels this year, so, but I had time to stitch, you know. So hopefully she'll still enjoy having it on her tree, even if it's not a towel. It at least won't get ruined. No one will be using it. So I also finished 2 other things that are gifts, and the 2 other things that I finished were, you'll remember earlier this, like a few videos ago, I shared this piece, and I had done one as a circle, and then I did a second one. So what happened is I was stitching this for my friend, and then I decided I liked it so much that I needed to stitch a second one for me because I couldn't give it away. So I stitched 2. This is stitched 1/1 on 28 count Monaco. And so I did the one as a circle, and I thought, oh, maybe I should try a square too, just to see, because the circle was kind of bigger. And then this one, I thought maybe it would look cute, kind of small. Then after I like finished it, as in like, you know, wrapped the fabric around, and I had glued the front to the back, I was like, oh, that's really plain, and maybe I made a mistake. Making it a square and making it so small. So I put the cording on, and it still looked really plain and boring, and I had planned that I would add the bell. And then I was just kind of like thinking, well, what can I do to make it more interesting? And I was thinking about some ornaments I had received from Elizabeth. She's Vintage Stitches, and she does amazing work. And I was thinking, oh, I could add some holly leaves. And so that's what I did. And I thought it looked a lot better. I kind of wanted to put 3 bells on here. I think that would have looked good, but I think it would have been the only thing you noticed. You wouldn't have noticed the design, so it was just a little bit too much. Even the leaves are maybe just a tiny bit big for this, but whatever. It's good enough. I think my friend, who is a cat mom, I think she'll like it a lot. And she is a crafter and a sometimes stitcher, so she will appreciate it. So I'll be giving that to her today, actually. This is from one of the Just Cross Stitch ornament issues, special issues, and it's by Britter Cup. It's called Get Into the Spirit. I liked these so well, I'm thinking of doing some of her other ones in upcoming years. I think I need water. For my friends and myself. One other thing that I finished. I finished this in August, but I haven't shared it because, well, the person who it's for, I don't think watches, but I just didn't finish sewing the lining in, so I didn't show it because it wasn't done. I made this bag, this crazy bag. It doesn't look crazy, but it's crazy. So this is a design by Sarah Lawson. She's So Sweetness, and I really like her bags, and I signed up for her newsletter. Last fall she released a series of bags as a bundle. You could only buy them as a bundle, and they're called Minikins. So there were, I don't remember exactly how many bags in the bundle, and she had a sale. And along with getting however many patterns you got in the bundle, a video walking you through making that bag came with each one, which was super cool. So I decided to go ahead and invest in it because it was really a good deal. I mean, I think you're getting each one for maybe like $8 separately. It's always kind of a tricky thing as a designer to release a series and not allow people to buy things separately, because some people were like, I can't, buy that many bags, but I want to do this one. And she was releasing it as a bundle only. So, but they were really nice bags. So I was happy to order the bundle. And she just released another bundle of Minikins this year too, like new bags. So I did last year a round bag that you cinched at the top. And I gave that to my friends. And that was my first time using flexible foam. So I tried a few different ones, and I tried the By Annie's Soft and Stable, and I tried Pellon, and then I tried can't remember what it's called, but the stuff that's in cars on like the ceiling of your car, the roof of your car, whatever that's called, headliner or something. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't like that one, but I liked the By Annie's. I liked pretty well. It was a little bit softer than what I wanted, so I ended up preferring the Pellon. So that's what I've been using since then, and it's a little bit less expensive, which is nice too. So this is called the Binary Pouch because of the double zipper. I thought this would make a great project bag for my friends. They all knit, among other things, and I thought I'll make a bag for every friend and one for myself, and it'll be like perfect. So I made this in August. It went really well until right at the end. And then it was like the hardest bag I have ever sewn. Now I've sewn a lot of bags, and usually the part that's hard is that you might get to an area where you have a lot of seams that you have to sew over, and the needle just won't catch the thread on the bottom and pull it up, so you'll have like skip stitches. That's what I've usually had as a problem with bag sewing before. Or some like maneuvering challenges, but this was the hardest to maneuver that I've ever done. And part of the problem was me, that I should have used my foot as my seam guide rather than using the plate on my Juki, because it was just a little bit too wide of a seam allowance, which made sewing this area on the inside really hard. But this was where there was a problem. Where these seams meet, it was so hard. And she does a video with it, and basically when you get to the really hard part, she's just like, take a lot of deep breaths. She doesn't show you how she does it. Probably for good reason. I mean, she's a great designer, and I'm not trying to be like critical of her, but I'm like, I don't even know what to do here, and I don't know how I actually got this thing together in the end. Like, I thought I had caught everything, but like I said, it was just like impossible. It was going like so slow. I could barely maneuver it. It was super hard. I looked online to see if other people made this, if they had advice. Hardly anyone has made this bag, and I know why, because it's hard. I'm assuming they either tried it and stopped, or they didn't make it. At least when I searched Instagram and even like her group page, people weren't making this one. Somehow I did get it in the end to sew together. I had finished sewing it and then I put it right side out and found that there were places where the exterior fabric had not gotten sewn in. I had to reflip it, sew it again a bunch of times, but eventually it's all together. It's probably going to be the only one that I ever make, although maybe I would, I don't know. If I can spend it, if I let enough time pass and I can kind of forget how it was, then maybe I can do it again, just remembering that I need a bigger seam allowance. So anyway, this is the lining. It's really nice. I mean, it's a great bag. It's just hard. And it's got a little magnetic snap that snaps in there. And so I just needed to sew by hand this part here, which is what I did the other day. So this is going to be a gift for my friend. And then I added this handle. It was on one of the other bags. I just adjusted the sizing and added it because I thought it would make it easier to carry or to pull this closed. And then I added this little leather strip, which came from Michael's. It was really kinky off the little card. And I didn't know what to do, so I'm like, can you iron leather? I guess you can. I haven't sewn with leather before. There's no iron setting for leather, so I'm just like, I'm just going to crank the iron up, flatten it out. So that's what I did. It's not going to melt. And that helped. So I'm excited to give this to my friend. It'll be a one-of-a-kind kind of thing. And don't let that discourage you from doing the minikins, because I think that's probably the hardest one out of all of them. And you know, I did another design from that set and it was fine. It was just, that one was very challenging. I'll do other minikins in the future. So, but yeah, that was hard. Okay. Whips. The only whip I can show you that I've been working on is Happy Christmas. I left the leaflet across the room. I'm not going to go get it. I'm just going to show you. You probably remember what the leaflet looks like. So I haven't had a lot of time to work on this, but I did make some progress. So I added the house, I think, from last time, the brown one. And then you can see I'm starting on the red house. This middle row is actually going rather quickly. And then there'll be another tree with a squirrel on the other side. This is like a really, really fun stitch. I'm so enjoying it. It's a great design. It's so fun. And like I said, it's going faster than you would think. So I changed out this brown. I've mentioned this in my previous video. And I changed out the red. I changed the squirrel color. And the smoke is a different color than what are called for. But the green and the white, not changing those. So this is coming along great. Do I think I can finish by Christmas? I don't know. I think I might be able to finish by the end of the year or early next year. It kind of depends. So the reason I have like kind of nothing to show is while I was finishing things up, and I just finished my next design, just got it framed, just finished photographing it this morning. Gonna work on writing up the pattern and send it to the printers. And I'm stitching already the next design, which also will be coming out next month. So I'm gonna be releasing 2 designs next month. So I've been working really hard on that. So I haven't had as much time to do just some other stitching. But I'm close to finishing my next one. So once that's done, then I can go back to Happy Christmas some more. I can work on my season's greetings. I'm getting ready for button up. I found a chalkboard type sign that I think would look really possibly good as a display for it, which still hasn't helped me narrow down my fabric choice at all. So I've got not much time to decide, but a little bit of time left. What, 9 days, 8 days to decide? So I'm excited though. Looking forward to button up. So if you don't know, on December 25th, many of us are starting to stitch Button Up by Prairie Schooler, which was just re-released in late October. So please join us. You can join us late. The hashtag is ButtonUpSal on Instagram. I'll just be stitching that until someday it's done. I'm not worried really about when I finish it, but I would like to finish Happy Christmas sometime soon. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so let's see what I've got from the archives. So that's my segment that I do about things that I've done in the past that I want to share with you. And so I'm going to start with a quilt called Christmas Cogs. This was a free pattern, and I want to say that it was, I'm sure it was on the During Quiet Time blog. I'll link it. It should be Amy that did the pattern. Unless it was on the... Read the description below. It might have been... I don't think it was on Moda's site. It's using Moda fabric, and she actually used this. This is a basic gray line from several years ago. And she used pre-cuts to make this. And I bought the same charm packs. I think I used 2. I love basic gray, especially some of their old lines. I was really into their stuff. And so I have, I don't usually buy a lot of pre-cuts, but I have like a fat quarter set of their Curio line because I love that one. And I also have a jelly roll of PB&J, and then I can't remember what this line was called, but I got a couple charm packs of this so that I could make this quilt because I just loved hers and I just had to copy it exactly. Maybe she used yardage, but anyway, I got a couple charm packs and made this quilt. And then the back is some flannel that I thought kind of coordinated and is fun. And then for the quilting, so this was a relatively quick, easy quilt. The quilting was just some lines that I spaced using my seams and a seam guide, and then I made it wider here in the middle, and then I made them the same width, and I just kept repeating that. And that way I didn't have to mark the quilt up, and it went pretty fast. So they're just straight lines going across it. So this is called Christmas Cogs. Again, I'll link, in case you're interested, the tutorial. Sorry, I don't know if I even have a pic. If I have a picture of this from far away where you can see the whole thing, I'll insert it here. And if you don't see one, that means I didn't have one. So that was awesome. And so I liked snuggling up under this, especially with the flannel, every year. So let's take a trip even farther back in time to when I first got interested in quilting. So the way that I got interested in quilting is that a friend of mine in college, when we were in college, my roommate brought some books from home that were her aunt's quilt books, and she was sharing them with me. And I was, I grew up crafty. I knew how to sew from my mom. I did not know how to quilt. But I was looking at this Thimbleberries book, and I fell in love with this tree skirt, and I'm like, I have to learn to quilt, and I have to make that tree skirt. And then time passed. I didn't know what book it was in. She and I kind of got out of touch. But when I saw her, I'm like, please, can you find out what the name of that book is? I need to make that tree skirt. And she kindly did find out for me. So, from the Thimbleberries book, I made this tree skirt for another college roommate who had just gotten married right after we graduated, and that was my first quilt. I made a second one for me, so this is actually the one I made for myself. I didn't know anything about quilting. The internet didn't have as much information as it does now, so it wasn't like you could find everything you needed to know about quilting the way you can now. And there were quilt classes, but my mom's machine isn't really portable, so my mom just kind of tried to help me figure things out, and then with books and the internet, what there was on the internet at the time, I made a quilt, a tree skirt, quilted tree skirt for my friend for her wedding, and then eventually made one a few years later for myself. I do have a photo of this with a tree, and since you're just getting kind of weird pieces of this, I'll insert that. But basically, there's this little very, very long crazy ruffle, buttonhole stitch around the stars. These are fused, and then the buttonhole stitch or blanket stitch, which I gotta say is not my favorite stitch. I know a lot of people like it. I just don't enjoy making it. I think because I don't do a good job. And I thought it was kind of hilarious. I don't know if I forgot to like finish some of these stars or what, but I was just pulling this out. And you can see where I just like took the floss along the back there. I don't know what that's about. Who knows? That was 2003 Misty, 2004, something like that. Maybe, actually, I think I started making this one probably like 2004, and I think I finished it around 2006 or 7. Anyway, and then it's got ties, double-sided ties, and you just wrap it around the bottom of your tree. So, sadly, my tree is not up this year because I just couldn't fit it in. I got all the other, well, I got about half of my decorations up, and I really miss having the tree a lot, but I just didn't have time, so I was tempted to put it up like after Christmas, maybe when I have more time. I don't know that I'll really do that, but I've been thinking about it. I don't remember which Thimbleberries book this is from, but anyway. So this is stippling that I did. The first time I tried to do this, I did it with a walking foot, which is not how you stipple. It looked bad. This time I knew enough about quilting that I got a free motion foot. Can you imagine, though, if you can see the ruffle, all that gathering that I did? Oh my god, it was a lot of gathering. Back in the day. One other thing that I'll show, and then kind of one other thing after. Okay, one of two things, more things I'll show. So I do have stitching. Like, usually there should be a Prairie School or Christmas Eve here on this chalkboard, but I want to refinish it because I'm not totally happy with how I did it. So there's not a From the Archives there. And then I finished an ornament last year. But since it's a Christmas ornament and most of my Christmas ornaments are packed away because my tree's packed away, I don't have that either. So you're getting all non-stitchy stuff pretty much. I used to do like everything, right? I mean, this is not going to be surprising to you if you've been watching me for a while. So for a while I was really into crazy quilting, and I decided to make this. So I read a lot of crazy quilting blogs. At one point, I can't remember if this is before or after, but Sharon Boggon had an online, like, encrusted something or other crazy quilt class, and I took some of that. So I designed this stocking. You can see here, like, maybe I should have gone a little farther with that stitch. Yeah, anyway, it's my first design. So I designed this, you know, I drew up the stocking and learned how to draw up a pattern for this kind of thing. Like, what is the order that you sew these pieces down in? I learned a lot about design and visuals from the crazy quilting class that I took, about like having a path for your eye to follow in design, like when you're designing quilts and things. And that's been a very useful thing to think about when I'm doing cross stitch, when I'm making quilts. So it kind of was a thing that has applied to other parts of my life as well. So I designed this, and then I just kind of made up some stitches to use in it. You can see I did a little bit of, silk ribbon embroidery here with this flower, and I added some fun buttons. I enjoyed collecting trims and flosses for these kinds of things. There's some old buttons and some new buttons that were from like family, and just stuff I collected from family or yard sales, or, you know, who even knows at this point. I crocheted this leaf and the berries. So this is pretty cool. And it's not an open stocking, it's just flat. And then I glued that there. So yeah, I liked doing embroidery and like learning different stitches. So there's several, these are embroidered, this is embroidery. There's some beading, French knots, more embroidery here. This one that randomly stops. I mean, this is kind of randomly spaced. I didn't really mark it. I was kind of doing some freeform mostly. So I designed this, and then I ended up teaching it as a class, and only one person took the class, but she could have bet, she like equaled a whole army of students because she was so enthusiastic. Her name's Carrie Lynn. She made these for like every person in her family. It was amazing. She came in with all of these stockings and I was just blown away. So she was awesome. Yeah, so it was really cool doing this with her and seeing how she took off with it. So I enjoy getting this out every year. I don't do crazy quilting anymore, but I still appreciate it and think it's really cool. So a little bit of a blast from the past. Plans. Okay, so as I stated, button up is my plan. That's for December 25th. And another thing that I'll be doing next year, hopefully the only sal that I do, and it's a very flexible one. If you've been watching Helen or if you've been watching Barbie, you'll already know this, but Barbie got a hold of Helen and I and said, do you want to do some kind of prairie schooler stitch along? She said she had a lot of prairie schooler designs in her stash, and she noticed that Helen and I are always stitching prairie schooler, it seems, and so, you know, we were both like, yeah, that would be fun. So what she proposed is that you can stitch any prairie schooler you want, you can start at any day of the month you want, but that you would start a prairie schooler every month in 2019. Doesn't matter the size, doesn't matter the day, and then you just hashtag it a very prairie year sal. So I'm all on board, and I have some candidates for what I might stitch in 2019. So I think, well, I'll just show you and then I'll kind of talk about it a little bit more. So first, where is it? Okay. First, probably gonna have to do January. I think I already mentioned that I was thinking about doing this. So I want to stitch this and have the word winter instead of January and stick this on my window. And that's what I'm gonna do eventually with When Witches Go Riding, which I finished this year. And I have a few others that are candidates for the window. So January is the first one I plan to do. I'm going to start in January. I'm tempted to start at January 1st, which I know is insane because I'll have just started button up on December 25th. I'm not sure I care. I want to do this larger one right now. I don't know if it'll be January 1st, but it's definitely happening sometime in January. So this is the first one for the Very Prairie Year sale that I am doing. And then others for the window would be next if I want to do this one next. These are for the window, so they're not necessarily getting stitched in this exact order. June would be my spring piece for the window. I think I will intersperse some smaller pieces in between. July will be my summer. And again, I'm just going to change these so that they say a season. I want to do December possibly as December and not change it, because I'll have January as winter. So I think I'll do December as December. I may not do all of these next year. These are just ideas. These are evolving ideas, as Vonna would say. Weather-wise, could also go on the window. And I know Barbie and Helen are both talking about doing this one too, so I think this one's going to happen next year. Hopefully in the summer. That's when I would like to stitch that. Okay, so those are the ones that are candidates for the window. And then other things I might stitch. Well, I want to get this, I want to do more of this. So I'd like to do these ornaments and hang them from the branch above the window. Another one that I'd like to do is Christmas samplers. I don't know if it'll happen. It's just one I'd like. I bought this years ago on eBay. I'd like to stitch it. I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but it's a candidate. This one I am fairly certain is happening this year. Signs of Spring. I think it might happen next after January, actually. I don't know how many I'll stitch this year. At least one. But I think this would also go above the window on the branch. Or on a tree. I'm not sure. Hopefully at least one will happen this year. I've had this for a while now. I actually kitted it up with some Weeks flosses, but the more I think about it, the more I think that I want to just do it in DMC. And one of the reasons that I got this chart is because I have some Hallmark ornaments, my mom and I do, and there are a series of Santas doing things like this. So she has a Santa in a train, in a tin train, and I have a Santa on one of those railroad cars that you crank the handle and it's supposed to go like you see in cartoons. Were those ever real? I don't know. I only have seen them in cartoons and on my tree. But because of those Hallmark ornaments that we have, I thought it would be cool to stitch these. I also have, speaking of, Santa in a balloon from the 80s. One of the Hallmark ornaments that I have is this really cool Santa in a balloon. So this reminds me of the ornaments my mom and I have, and that's why I wanted to stitch from this. I just got this one. I think Barbie has this, and I just couldn't resist. So this one could happen in 2019. I've long wanted to do this. I would love to do one this year. I think instead of using a real branch from a tree, that I would maybe do felt rolled up. Or, yeah, I think so. I think felt. Pipe cleaner's a possibility, but I don't know. I think I've seen a lot of people stitch this. Probably Kelly Stadola was the last straw before I was just like, I gotta get that, because I'm pretty sure Kelly was stitching this and it made me have to have it. Last year I stitched Rabbit Run, and I really wanted to stitch this as a companion piece for it. So this could happen in the spring or summer this year if I'm lucky. And this is, unfortunately, I discovered an illegal copy of Songs of the Season that I'd purchased on eBay or in Etsy, I'm not sure which. And I thought that it was a used copy. Or no, maybe I thought it was new. I just assumed that the person who had this, I mean, I think it said I had one left. And I just assumed that she'd had one to sell. And then after I bought it, I saw that she had another one to sell. And then, so yeah. And then I looked at it more closely and saw that you can see like a copy line, like what Teresa had talked about. So that was a bummer, but I'm still going to stitch it. And I think actually this person was reported probably because I don't see her on either anymore. And if I had thought of it, it just didn't even occur to me that it was illegal. But if I had thought of it, what I realize now that I could have done is I should have looked at the like sold listings, and then I'd have known, you know, if someone says they have something that's out of print and then they keep having more and more of it, then that's like probably a sign that that they're copying things. But it didn't even occur to me. And even when I got it, I was just like, yay! And I didn't even like think until later when I was looking through my stash. And then it just stood out to me all of a sudden because I was looking at a bunch of Prairie Schoolers at once, and I was like, oh. So what are you gonna do? You just learn from your mistakes. So now I'm smarter about buying used Prairie Schooler or new Prairie Schooler charts on eBay and Instagram, Etsy. So that's my plan. Lots and lots of Prairie Schooler for next year. I'm pretty excited about that. And I think I know what my birthday start's going to be in April. I think I'm going to stitch Away We Ride. Those are the main things for now that I want to do. So we'll just see what happens. And I got a few new things because never stop buying Prairie Schooler. I got Knock Knock and Just Hatched because I have the other egg-shaped one that I can't remember right now. So I wanted to get this one too. And then Hoffman finally got this. And I had to have it because it's stitched on a mint green fabric and it's so adorable. And Robin stitched this. And then Steph stitched this. And I don't know who else stitched this, but I just couldn't not do it. So maybe next year I can stitch this too. Okay, so we're coming up on my 1-year anniversary. I'll be back for a video for that. I'm coming up on 2,000 subscribers, so that's amazing. So I'm going to do a giveaway in my next video, and that gives me some time to think about what to give away. And what else? So right now I'm kind of half operating for the holidays with my Etsy shop. I've just got digital patterns in my shop, and then I'll post in-stock items again that are physical things on December 28th, which is a Friday. So print patterns, floss for Cardinal Noel, those things will go back in stock. And then I'll have my next fabric / new design update in early January. So you can watch for that. Anything else? If you'd like to get updates from my shop, you can sign up for my newsletter. That's where everyone gets the update first. And that is going to be linked below the video in the description box. I usually only send 1 or 2 announcements a month, just when there's something new that I want to share with people. I've got some very cool stuff that I'm excited to put in my shop next month. In addition to my designs, I've got some other cool designs and kind of cool accessory stuff. New fabric. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. I hope that you get lots of stitching done. I hope that you have a wonderful New Year. I probably won't be back until after the New Year. That's my guess. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Oh, wait. I'm not done. I wanted to share that the Cardinal Noel Stitch Along, some people did some amazing finishing on Instagram. There have been posts of people's finishes, and so I wanted to share those. And I asked everyone who'd fully finished their piece if I would be able to share it in my video, and they all said yes. So now at the end, I'm going to insert a short little bit where you can see each person, how they finished theirs, which is really cool. They did it all different ways, and the person's Instagram name and Instagram name, so that if you'd like to follow them or at least know who they are, I can give credit, you can check that out. So I'll add that here. And now I will bid you adieu. Feliz Navidad. Merry Christmas. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. How many things can I forget to share in one video? Okay, I want to share something else with you. If you've been watching my videos for most of the year, then you'll remember that early on in my Flosstube career, I was lucky enough to win Elizabeth Vintage Stitches. She did a giveaway of some ornaments that she'd made. I was lucky enough to win them, and she sent me all of these beautiful handmade ornaments. So I got them in January or February, and it's just this box full of goodness. So I really wanted to display them nicely, but I didn't have my tree up. And I splurged on this tree that I wanted. It's a little tabletop tree by Bethany Lowe, and it's got whoops, see. It's gonna be one of those days. It's got a paper on the tree. It's like shredded paper are the tree branches. So like music and words, you know, I don't know what it's from. It's tea-dyed. It's really cool. So it was a frivolous purchase, and I just couldn't help myself. I've been wanting it since, I don't know, maybe September or something, and then there was a sale, so I splurged and got this tree. But then when I got the tree anyway, I got Elizabeth's ornaments out and put them on. So I want to share with you the ornaments on display. One of them is not on the tree, it's on a different decoration that I have. So there's one ornament that's not on display. If you're not watching Elizabeth, you should watch her. I'll link her channel. She's very generous, wonderful person, great storyteller, very artistic. So So this is where I got the idea for doing the holly on my Get Into the Spirit ornament, especially that Santa right there gave me the idea. You can see my Get Into the Spirit that I'm keeping for me. I love this kitty. So these ornaments are mostly, I believe, from the Just Cross Stitch ornament issues. I could be wrong, but I think I don't think the letters are, but I think the others are mostly from that. So I just wanted to show off her beautiful work. This is kind of a from the archives, even if I didn't stitch these. So this is cool, and the tree, I've got my little lights there, and then the tree has sheet music on the base. I'd seen this at Lewisburg at the Street of Shops, and the person who had this, it was just for display, it wasn't for sale, it was to display things she was selling, and every time I go I look at it and I'm like, I want that tree. So I finally figured out what it was, and then caved and splurged on it. Okay, I think that's really it for now. I'll try to leave you this time, and Merry Christmas!